Is it a substantial variance? I know in the past we've looked at, someone wants a fence this high and it's only allowed this high.
Can't use that criteria here. You just can't.
We're looking at height things, so right, I'm just trying to,
It's interpreted.
it is. Do you think we should take a vote now on this one?
Yeah.
What happens if this is a split vote?
There are
There's only four of
you
us.
sitting.
Let's say
Well,
two
these-
say yes and two say no. What happens? Like, how does this?
These are, because it's not a use variance, these are advisory.
Right, but I'm
So
just
they're not
curious
bound.
how it would be
You know, it's just-
looked at, in the
Let
totality.
me think about that question. Just continue the conversation.
Well, we were gonna vote.
It's not a big deal.
That's very good. This is better than Colbert. What?
So do we want to take a vote here, or we want to wait for
Why don't we
for Rob
wait?
to?
Well, I'll tell you what.
Okay,
why don't
while you're thinking of that,
Yeah,
we'll
on to the
discuss the
next
next
one.
one. No answer on that one yet.
So it would be a
Okay.
denial. A split vote here would be a denial.
Would be a denial, just as if like split, it would be a denial for.
Would be a denial. Then
Okay,
you can make,
then it would be. Right, just for that question. All right, I don't know what the vote's gonna be. I'm just looking ahead. All right. Is this a substantial variance? That's the question. Joe, how do you vote?
Oh, we're back to number 3 again. Okay.
Well, I don't know what number it is. I'm using Mr. Pulver's.
All right, area variance, is the requested area variance not substantial? Or
Wait a
is it
minute.
substantial?
Okay.
Is it substantial? He said it is not substantial. Again, it gets into the 450 feet thing from New York State 32 short distance and Quaker Road. It is a municipally maintained road, but so is Evans Drive, and it increases it, thing. So, I disagree with the applicant.
Okay. So you think it is it is
Substantial.
substantial? Gary, how do you vote?
Disagree.
That it's not substantial?
I agree with Joe.
Oh,
I agree.
that it is
I
substantial?
disagree
He
with
disagrees with the
applicants.
applicant.
Oh, with the applicant, I'm sorry, I thought you said you disagreed
I
with
did
Joe.
too.
No,
Okay, so you're agreeing with Joe, you
I agree with
agree
Joe.
with Joe? Okay.
I will agree with the applicant that it is not substantial.
Thanks, guys. I'm going first next time.
I didn't hear what you said.
She's going first next time.
Oh, that's
Very funny. She doesn't want to be the tire or the tiebreaker.
still better than Colbert.
I believe that the variance is substantial. So I disagree with the applicant. So I guess I'm agreeing with
You would be agreeing
Gary
with
and
Gary
Joe. So you got that? That's 3 that. Okay. Will the proposed variance have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district? Well, we just filled out the seeker form and said there's little impact and gave a negative declaration, so we can't do anything with the environmental. We have no support for that. We can't say it causes environmental problems. We just filled out a seeker form and said it didn't.
I agree with the applicant.
But then there's the physical, conditions, okay? Anybody have any comment on that?
First.
On voting? Okay, I can give you my opinion.
Well, and what's the
Will the proposed variance have an adverse effect on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood?
That's an easy one.
Adverse effect on the physical?
Okay.
That's an easy one.
I'm trying to figure out how you separate physical and environmental, because in the context of a road, it's the same thing.
I'm thinking of noise.
That's
People drive-
environmental. That's part of your EIS, if you were to do
it
it.
is.
That's true. However, the applicant went on record as saying no trucks, no buses. We're talking about passenger vehicles. Maybe motorcycles, but other than that, I believe that he took the offending vehicles out of the equation by agreeing no trucks, no buses.
No tractor
No big
trailers.
trucks.
Tractor
oversized
trailers,
vehicles, no
Well,
tractor
that would be
trailers.
difficult to negotiate up there anyway.
Not on a 24-foot wide road, it wouldn't.
Yeah, but
So
in
unless we're
curve, it's
talking
like
about
a right-hand turn there.
24-foot wide is what you've got anywhere
Yeah,
throughout
yeah.
John's Toad.
Oh, yeah, I
Texas,
measured
down
my road out there. I said, whoa. Will it
So you
have an
can go
adverse
for-
effect on the environmental? I have to say no.
I agree with.
I agree
You
with
agree
the applicant.
I do.
You agree also?
I agree with the applicant.
I agree with the applicant.
We all agree with the applicant. Okay. Is this a self-created hardship? I love this question. And the applicant says, although the proposed variance was self-created, such factor may not be solely relied on, which we know. Okay. Is it self-created? Well, yeah, it is, because, you know, he decided, wanted to put a winery, which is a permitted use, but the access is not permitted, therefore, he went ahead with it, it's self-created. My opinion.
Agree.
Agree.
So we agree that it is self-created. Okay, so now, let's go through this. So the first one, will it produce an undesirable change? We disagreed on the first one. Can it be achieved by some method feasible other than, he said no, we disagreed on that one also, correct?
Correct.
Is it substantial? That was a split vote. Variance is not, and we disagreed with the applicant on that one. Will it have an adverse effect or impact on environmental or physical? He said no, we agreed. And he said it was self-created, and we agreed. So now we have to decide, what was that? I don't know. It must be time to go home.
Somebody's trying to tell us something.
Is that the nameplate?
Yeah, I can't imagine how it
Either
would.
that or you've just been terminated.
I think so. What a way to tell me. Okay, we have to decide what kind of a decision we're going to render on this. Okay, so we've got an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood. He's got alternatives. It is substantial. It is self-created, but there's no physical or environmental or insignificant physical or environmental conditions.
Can I ask a question before you vote?
Can he ask a question before? I don't think so. The public hearing's closed, or?
So you can entertain the question, doesn't mean you're gonna answer it, but.
I'd like to put this vote off, obviously. I don't want you to take a vote right now. From my understanding, if there's one question that was not answered negative, on those 5 variance questions, from what my lawyer said, I needed all of them to be negative, and I have 4.
Not for an area variance, you don't need,
No.
we don't need to agree or disagree.
They're advisory in nature, they're not
A use
absolute.
variance, all of them have to be answered correctly, but
This is not a
I
use.
still have 4 out of, I could have those answers, and you could still.
here's my dilemma. We have 4 board members. We do not have a full board. Does he have the option to postpone the vote because we don't have a full board?
You can request that.
We have
You
a quorum,
and
though.
You can act. You can act.
Yeah,
It's
but
up-
split,
That question's up to
if it goes to
Okay, so
two.
that's up to the board, whether we wish to entertain,
It's up to the applicant to request.
Good.
and then, right, but.
And we could entertain it
it.
if he were to do so.
Right, okay.
So with that
Right.
discussion, I don't know if you heard that, you can request
I did.
us to
As long as.
postpone because we don't have all 5 board members.
Okay, now my understanding is that I can still get granted the variance even though these questions haven't answered the way they have been.
Well, there's no guarantee either way because we haven't taken a vote.
I'm just asking about the possibility, I understand, my understanding was that if I had one of these that wasn't answered, and you're telling me that was just for the use variance,
The use
Yeah.
variance requires concurrence on all 5.
I think that was where I had a misunderstanding. So, an area variance, there's no requirement, or is it changing?
No
No,
requirement in essence,
even
but-
did Jay fill out this?
Sorry,
Did Jay fill this portion out?
I mentioned so. Yeah.
Okay, because it's, for the last question, he says, although it was self-created, such factor may not be solely relied on. In other words, you don't have to meet every single one, like you do in a use variance. It's really up to the board to weigh each one and make a decision based on that.
Okay. and
But you still have the option
I'm gonna let you
to
vote yes.
request.
I'm gonna let you guys vote tonight.
You sure?
No?
You're not sure?
What is this, deal or no deal?
Is that your
Seth, you understand, if it goes 2 for and 2 against, it goes down. If you have 5 members there, you get a different,
If it's 2-2, it's no. And that's what happened last week with Mr. Falkowitz, or last month
Yeah,
with Mr. Falkowitz.
based on your findings? So
That's why they resubmitted a brand new application. So, yes.
Would you,
There's certainly no harm in your asking for it to be.
would you prefer to speak with your lawyer prior to us voting?
Yeah, I think
I think that would be a fair thing to do. Is that agreeable to the board?
yes.
Yes.
You know, well, we still have 2 more.
Yeah,
Let him speak with his lawyer and discuss, you know,
There's
what.
no downside to him asking for,
Oh, right, right, and Mr. Myro left, you know, so if you wish to speak with him, we will withhold our vote until the next meeting. Not our vote, it'll be a draft decision. We'll make a decision at the next meeting. So you have the entire month to speak with Mr. Myro.
will my attorney get to, is there any interaction between us?
The public hearing is closed, so, correct? So,
As the applicant, he can submit whatever materials he wants to.
in addition to,
Well, he's not going
What-
to submit new evidence.
Right,
or
right.
Information. He may have a
Can-
legal
can
argument that
he
he
am-
wants to present.
I'm sorry, can he amend the variance request at this time, or no amendments?
That would require a re-noticed hearing, and have to reopen the public.
It would be a
hearing
whole
on an
different-
Amended application.
yeah.
Okay,
yeah, he can
he can
amend,
amend the application prior to the vote.
absolutely.
Good, and then we would have to renotice.
The
it.
protocols would need to be.
So understand, if that were to occur, if you were to decide to make an alternative recommendation submission, that we'd have to reopen the public hearing, you'd have to submit an amended proposal, which is probably better than having to submit a new proposal if it's denied, right?
It certainly would be, yes.
Right? If you were to choose to go that route.
Now, since what happened tonight when the traffic consultant put up the board and had that one change that everybody seemed to like, to have all the traffic go towards that one intersection, that would eliminate, you know, a lot of discussion tonight was about how parents configure going to Evans also. I was kind of agreeing to reconfigure that intersection to keep people away from Evans. So with that, if we do submit that and reconfigure that intersection, have people go that way, we would make it.
Well, we can control which access they use. In other words, straightening the road doesn't necessarily mean that no one will be coming up Evans.
But if I have signage leading everybody to 32 and Quaker when they leave the winery, of course you can't stop them from going.
Right,
I'm
right.
just wondering if it would help, you know, if there's anything else I can do to increase the chances of my application getting approved. Is there anything I can give you? I know you guys want alternative, listen, I would love to come up regularly in Castleton and pull into my driveway.
Well, you know what your attorney said. Apparently, he's not speaking for you. That's a problem.
There's a lot of problems here, 100%.
You and your attorney should be on the same page.
Gary.
Gary. Yeah.
Well, you do need to speak with your attorney, and you have the right, you know, to postpone this, which you will, especially since you're not sure of what you were telling us.
So we need
So
a motion
do-
to carry over to next month, yes?
Well, the public hearing's closed, so do we
There's a motion to table the application until next month.
table
I
it?
make a
Okay.
motion to table this action until next month.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So you speak with him, and I'm sure he'll direct you to whatever you need to do and get whatever, you know, you can submit, whatever needs to be submitted.
Thank you for all your time and for staying incredibly late.
Do we need to do Aldi?
Yes, and Iron Chef,
And Iron Chef.
yes.
Oy.
And this I need to
No,
get.
no, it's fine.
Which way you want to go with it now, from Aldi to the end, or from where we are backwards?
That they're good, they didn't stay.
Matters not, as long as we get moving on something.
Exactly, I'm with you. Aldi, I go Aldi.
Aldi it is.
Wait, did you know that Aldi owns Trader Joe's?
Yeah,
Yes.
I love Aldi's.
But there's two Aldis. That's the part, it's like Puma and Adidas, except they don't make one.
All right, before we start down this trail, Counselor, did anything the council from Hampton Inn said to us matter to being able to decide this tonight?
My opinion,
Sir,
Yeah.
certainly can take it into consideration. I didn't think there's much of the argument, I guess, would be a nice way of saying it.
all right,
Say it in not so nice. I'm kidding.
thank you.
Okay, so we're doing Aldi's right now?
You all concur with that?
Yes,
Okay.
All right. Will the granting of this variance produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or create a detriment to nearby properties? The applicant says no.
I agree.
The two- Gotcha.
Which one are we doing?
Aldi's.
Aldi.
Aldi's. So he says that no undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties.
I agreed with that.
I agree.
Agree.
Agree. So we agree. Number 2, can the benefit you seek be achieved by some other feasible method other than the variance? So he's looking at 5 colors, which is their corporate logo, and
Our survey
2
said-
signs. I
He
mean,
says, no, I agree.
I agree.
yeah, I mean, he's on a corner property. This is not unheard of in our town. So we agree.
Yes,
Number 3, how substantial is the variance you're requesting? He says it's not substantial.
Agree.
Agree.
I agree. The colors are harmonious.
There's 2 wall signs there now, there's 2 wall signs when they're done.
And if you look at
And
the,
it's smaller, I believe. than
yes,
what's
because
existing.
if you look at the letters of Kohl's, it's much, you're right. And
That's
it's,
why I asked the question about the size of the letters.
Yeah.
That they're probably not even 4 feet.
I did the scale thing on my thing and I said
How
it's,
many businesses had 2 signs?
oh, several,
In some cases,
several.
4 signs.
Well, but how many had 2 signs within that property, which is really the only relevant factor?
About 2 more for sure.
But there's a,
Talbots.
right, there's
Yeah.
there's at least 2,
And
so.
Udo's. And believe it or not, there's multiple signs at Dunkin' Donuts, even though it's the sign of nowhere. It faces out on the squirrels, but it's there. Well, the squirrels like it.
Squirrels like
We
it.
ought to do that.
Okay,
Will the granting of the variance have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions of the neighborhood or district? No, it's already a commercial center
We agree.
with
we agree.
I agree.
signs. We all agree.
We agree with the
Is
applicant.
the alleged difficulty self-created? He says no, I say yes. It's self-created because, I mean,
Self-created because their logo's 5 colors.
and they could have just put one sign, but they're on a corner, but,
So-
you know.
I will agree.
But that
with you.
doesn't preclude us being able to.
Exactly, exactly.
So I'll agree with you that it is self-created.
Yeah, self-created.
Self-created.
So we disagree, but, okay. So do I have a motion
I'll make a
for an
motion.
action on this?
I'll make a motion.
For a decision, that's what I meant. What did I say?
A motion for
draft
direct
decision.
counsel to draft a decision approving the application.
And I'll
Yes.
second that.
I'll make the motion. Gary second.
Okay, Joe, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Gary?
Aye.
Greg?
Aye.
And I vote aye. So it looks like all this will get their sign.
Yes, we closed one.
Yeah, wow.
Iron Chef?
Yep.
Shouldn't have this started.
Okay. This is for Iron Chef now, LLC, Route 32, something LLC. Will the granting this variance produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or create a detriment to nearby properties? He says no.
Agree.
Agreed.
I agree.
Agree, we all agree. Number 2, can the benefit you seek be achieved by some other feasible method other than the variance? Well, you can make the sign smaller, but nobody's going to see it.
Yeah, I would say no.
I thought they had a good point with the fact of scale.
Yes.
It looks very
Oh, yeah, it
good
doesn't-
up on that building
Yes.
with the way it's done.
Yeah, And when you look at the sign, they had to measure that whole triangle, and it's not filled in, it's just a little circle with the words
Yeah, and
Iron
if you
Chef.
take perspective into consideration, because it's so far off the road, it looks relatively insignificant.
Definition.
Yeah.
It looks significantly insignificant.
Number 3, how substantial is the variance you are requesting? Well, it may be numerically, quantitatively
Quantitatively substantial.
substantial, but I'm
For the
moving seats here.
qualitatively not substantial.
Right, I don't.
For the physical appearance
No,
of it,
no.
not at all.
Yeah, I would say unsubstantial, insubstantial,
So he says, what do they say? If
inconsequential.
this one, he doesn't really say one way or the other, but we're looking at it that, size-wise, when you measure the triangle, it is, but it's not significant.
I think-
I say it's not significant.
So it's how substantial, right?
Right, substantial is the variance that you are requesting.
He didn't really answer it, but
No.
we're all saying not
Not
substantial,
substantial.
right?
Not substantial, yeah.
Not substantial.
Correct. Everybody with that?
Yep.
Okay. Will it have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions of the neighborhood or district? He says no, it's an existing restaurant, and it's under the A-frame. I agree.
I agree.
And number 5, is the alleged difficulty self-created? I say yes.
Again,
Yes.
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 Can I add one condition to this that I would like to see? I would like that in writing, that the sign be illuminated only during business hours when needed, not all
You
night.
could also say that the number of lumens, the illumination.
Well, I think that we
The
can't,
illumination meet,
somebody's going to have to measure that or whatever.
Gary,
but,
I spoke to Gary Thomasberger as the code enforcement officer, that they had to go and see him about that, so that what they put up there was agreeable
is
to
clearly
Gary,
gonna meet his,
the criteria, because.
Would he take care of that on his
I think
own?
you already approved it, it's just the variance, right?
I'm not certain, I guess they have a building
Oh,
permit
we
in
do,
here
that's why
somewhere.
he's concerned,
Yeah,
yeah, so
we-
we're not.
Either they've
yeah.
gotten it, or they might be waiting till after the
I
variance.
just want
Craig, I don't
that
know.
the sign is illuminated only during business hours, because
I agree
all night
with-
would be
I think I agree with, what was your condition?
only illuminated during business hours.
Because I wanted that too.
during business hours.
I would
Correct.
actually be a little bit more lenient
I
and
would-
say no later than 11 PM, since he's saying hours until 10. Let it go.
Oh, in other words, somebody might be eating and they might leave till 10:30. Yeah, okay, so,
Yeah, when you
till
walk-
they close shop,
When
so
he
to
walks
speak.
out- When he walks out the door, he turns out the lights.
Right, I mean, I don't know how you word that. I mean, it's during business hours, but, yeah, well, it would be business hours
No,
because
no,
people
I'm
are
saying
there
If he's saying he's serving till 10, I'm saying
and you're eating,
Yeah, say 11.
till 11.
Say 11, that's
Still
fine.
working, he's still cleaning up.
All right, so you're considering that part of
It's
business
business-
hours?
business
Right.
hours,
Yeah,
So-
that's good for me.
Okay.
all
That
right,
works.
so no later, so you agree,
Yes.
no later than 11 PM?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, got that. So, did we make that motion yet?
Nope.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to authorize Rob to adopt a resolution. of
positive
approval
for this, with the condition of,
With the condition
of the,
that Karen described, it. Lights out at 11 p.m.
here we go.
I'll second.
Joe, how do you vote?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
Craig?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion.
To adjourn.
Now, do we have a report? Do we have to- or-
No, that was the last,
That was the
we
last
did, there was no,
agenda item?
yes, because there was no
Yes,
building.
I second.
Let me begin reading it.
I second your motion.
Page 1 of 1,000.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye. Did you aye?
I never thought that this would be more brutal than last month. I really didn't, but I would be wrong.
I think there was more meat to this. The last time, it had to be hard because of all the people getting up.
Yeah, but this